Hi everyone and welcome to Sub to Cloud. Today we are talking about Google Cloud and AWS certification. Few days or few weeks ago, I passed. I was recertified from Google Cloud, and I want to compare both certifications. And let's go. Google Cloud versus AWS at certification level. Okay, Google Cloud Architect Professional Certification versus AWS Solution Architect Professional Certification. Both are very good certifications, and I want to compare them because I have this certification. I don't put in this comparison Azure because I don't have the Azure certification. I know it because some colleagues have this certification, but I want to compare from my perspective these two certifications that I have. Okay, Google Cloud versus AWS. Okay, we will start doing a brief summary about these two certifications. On Google Cloud, we had 50 or between 50 and 60 questions, and on AWS we had 75. Okay, always is 75 questions. We to do the test we need or not we have 120 minutes, 2 hours on Google Cloud, and 3 hours, 180 minutes on AWS. The pass score in both are similar. On Google is between 70 and 75%, and on AWS is 75%. Okay, that is not official information because on Google don't say, and AWS say that they use a calculation depends of the question. Some questions have more points because are harder, okay, and depends of this maybe you are your rate is in real is different, okay. On Google you need to recertify every 2 years, and on AWS you need to recertify every 3 years. The cost of the certification is $200 on Google Cloud and $300 on AWS. The test center is different because on Google you it's Criterion and on AWS is Persian Blue. In the past, AWS also have Criterion, but a few years ago they moved to Persian Blue. But in reality, it's very similar. And the language you can choose your language. In Google Cloud you can choose English or Japanese, and on AWS you have more options, but English, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, Chinese, and Spanish. I don't like the translation in Spanish. I don't know in other language from AWS and from Google, but in this case from this certification from AWS, and always I did the test on English, okay? And I prefer to do the test on English because I think it's more simple. And uh, I have a lot of problem with the translation, and for example, on the documentation, and I prefer read the documentation in English because sometimes I don't understand the documentation on Spanish. Okay. The first question that always people make to me is how difficult or how is the comparison the difficult between Google and AWS. My answer will be short at the beginning because for me AWS professional certification is harder than Google Cloud professional certification. Okay, the difference is big, is amazing. Because different concept. Okay, Google Cloud certification is hard, but AWS certification is extremely hard. Okay, that is the difference. And are different aspect. Okay, one is the case studies. On Google Cloud, you can study some cases. You have 4 cases to study, case studies to review, and 2 of them enter on the exam and are like the 20 and 30, between 20 and 30% of your question will be related by these 2 case studies, and that is a challenge, okay, a game changer, because it's easier to study this case, and the question are more easy, okay, because you have a background about these case studies. Also, the question on AWS usually are longer, harder, and trickier than Google Cloud, because we will watch in the next slide, but that for me is harder. And the other difference for me about the difficulty is the exam duration. Okay, Google Cloud is only 2 hours, but at the same time you have enough time to do the exam. Okay, and you have enough time to do all question, review your question 1, 2, and 3 times. And on AWS, not. On AWS, you have less time. The total time is more, is 3 hours, but you can review your question a lot, okay? Because the questions are longer in general, okay? And you need more time to read and more time to understand them. I show you a different about 2 questions on Google Cloud. That is a hard question on Google Cloud and a hard question on AWS. Maybe it's not the harder question on AWS. I used this question from With Labs from Google and from Tutorial Jojo for AWS. And don't read the question, please. That is only to show you how the difference are, because you can see the AWS question is longer. And also, if we compare the question on Google, that is a multi option. That is very common in Google, and AWS also, but usually are different. And on Google, you can discard 2 options, okay? And that is easier. It's easier to discard option on Google Cloud. But on AWS, it's harder, because sometimes the answers are not fine, okay, but are correct, or maybe correct. Maybe you can implement these things and will work on Google, but on AWS, but it's not the best choice. And other times, the question on AWS is very hard or very tricky, because the correct answer is not accurate, 100% accurate. Is maybe 80% or 90%, has some fails, but it's the most accurate answer that you have, and the other answer is less accurate, and that is very hard to know what question is the good one, okay? And that is very hard for me. The main difference about the exam is this: is the tricky question on AWS, because sometimes are very hard to know what is the correct answer, correct options. And other times your answer, you say, okay, I not will do this on real life, okay, but it's the answer. We talk about preparation, how prepare the exam on Google, on AWS, using the materials that AWS and Google give to us, okay? For me, Google Cloud is the winner in this case, in this question, in this phase, because they have the Google Cloud skill boost with Quiz Labs, and it's very easy to study in Google. You can do labs on Google, and it's very easy. You have a lot of information. The topics or how prepare the exam is very easy. They have guides to recertify, or for AWS administrator or Azure administrator, and it's very easy. And on the other hand, AWS improve a lot of with the skill builders. Now you can prepare your certification using Skill Builder, but for me, Google Cloud is best. Okay, it's the best about preparation. They have a lot of material and it's easier to prepare using Google Cloud. The exam experience in general are equal on Google and on AWS. Criterion and Persian Boo are very similar. Maybe you love one test that only have Criterion or only have Persian Boo, but that is more personal. And doing online is very similar. I never do an online test. I know it because some colleagues do it. I don't do online tests because my setup is very hard or very complex to do online test because I need to remove a lot of things here to do the test. But in general, the experience on test center is very similar. And some test center have Criterion and Persian Boo rooms, and it's very easy to do in this test center. Okay. And what happens when you end your exam? Okay, you click to submit your exam, and what happened? That experience is, for me, is very different on Google and on AWS. In Google, you complete the survey and you have your score, not your score. You know if you have passed the exam or not immediately. Okay, you have a message on your screen said you passed the exam or you didn't pass the exam, and that is immediately. And in 42 hours you have the confirmation. Okay, but you don't have a score report. You don't know what is your score in this exam, and for me that is bad. Okay, but you know it if you pass or not immediately. That for me is very important because if not, I will be very anxious about the score. On AWS, the experience is very different because that's you don't know immediately if you have passed the exam or no. Sometimes you know it, but that experience is random. And lately, for me, in the professional exams, I don't know it. Okay, I did the exam for my first exam. I did the exam and I received my the approval or not immediately. But lately, that not happens, and it's very random. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and lately no. But 42 hours later, 2 days later, you receive a complete score report. Tells you what are you fail, what is your score, and the score in different areas. That for me is amazing and help to you a lot of how to avoid these mistakes. Okay, and for me that's complete score report is amazing. What will we do later? When we pass the exam, we have our certification, but have a certification validate your skills, but not your real skills. You need to keep practicing and put your skills on the real world. Okay, for that, QuillLab or AWS Workshop are amazing. QuillLab on Google is very easy to use. AWS Workshop also are amazing, but you need an account. Okay, and maybe it's tricky or hard to have your own account or is your own account, but you can do AWS Workshop. It's amazing. Also, you can use Cloud Resume Challenge. That is a project that Forrest Brace created a few years ago. Initially only for AWS, but he expanded to Google Cloud and Azure like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's amazing. Also, you have labs, like if you do the Andrew Cantrell's courses for AWS, they have a lot of labs to do, and also they have free labs that they give you the code and you can use in your own account, and that is amazing. Okay, and in Google exists something similar, but with QuillLab you don't need it. Okay. And finally, I tell things that I like it on Google Cloud and on the AWS. On Google Cloud, I like it, the study case, because for me it's easier to prepare the exam with a study case because are very complete, are very close to the real scenarios, and with few changes on the question, you can change your architecture and ask how will we do better, and that is very cool for me, the study case. Also, they have the Google Cloud Skill Boost, the quick labs, and you can do quick labs on Google Cloud, and for me are amazing. And also, you have the immediate results of your exam. That for me is very important because if not, I will be very anxious when the exam ends, and for me, that is awful. On AWS, I like it the ESL plus 30. That is a thing that you can request 30 minutes more if you are not native in English, like me. Okay, that is obvious. And for me, that is very good because you have more time to do the exam and help to you to be more confident when you you did the exam. Also, for me, the AWS exam, it's very hard and it's a challenge. And that part, that is a challenge for me, I like it because I like challenge. Okay, I like the certification. You only need certificates every 3 years. That for me is better than 2 years because 2 years is very few time. And also the score report. The complete score report on AWS, I like it because you can avoid your mistakes. Or in the next cycle, certification cycle, put more interest on the areas that you have more fails. And that is a very good thing. Talking about both, for me, both certifications are cool and are amazing because help to you to grow on your professional career. Okay, for me, have these two certifications are amazing, and I say both certifications are good for you. If you are more focused, or your intention will be more focused on AWS, do the AWS certification. Or if you will be more focused on Google, do the Google certification. Or if you can do both, it's good for you because certifications are good in general because help to you are a validation on your curriculum and help to you to grow and to have better positions and to demonstrate your skills. And for me, both certifications are cool. Okay, and bye bye.